Hey guys, good morning. Welcome to part day three of my week-long campaign for the remembrance of Suicide Prevention Week. I'm so excited to be doing this. Like I said earlier, like it's something that's really healing for me to be able to share my story and talk about my brother and some of the impact that this has all made on our lives. So where I left off at was the man who killed my parents. He served 3 weeks in jail, was on probation, all that good stuff. And my mom owned the flower shop and, my adopted mom, and just picked right up with our lives, right? Well, because, like I said, that flower shop was at the main intersection, at the time, I think the only intersection of Brazoria, Texas. Everybody kind of knew who we were, and so people came in and were watching me grow up. My parents had a lot of friends, so they would come in all the time. But the downside of having a business open to the public meant that this guy who killed my parents would come in often and try to talk to my adopted aunt, and only God knows what he was trying to say. But luckily she had a lot of really great employees that wouldn't let this a-hole anywhere near her, because she was not even in a place of forgiveness. She wanted nothing to do with him. His family came in, all the different things, and it created a lot of trauma for my adopted mom. Of course, I had no idea what was going on. I was just a kid growing up in a flower shop, learning how to make homecoming mums and do bouquets of flowers. And I learned how to do the books, like I could do anything in that shop as a kid. So it was a really cool experience for me to have. Although I do have to say, I never went to a Valentine's Day party my entire life, because Valentine's Day is a florist's Super Bowl, right? Like it's the big day of the year. And so even as a little first grader, second grader, she always pulled me out of school because she knew I would help. I was always just that person to help her, when she needed me. So just something interesting. So I hate Valentine's Day. P.S. by the way, I never celebrate. It's an awful day, but I digress. So my brother, I remember when I was about 4 years old, he got a job in the oil field. We were so proud of him. He ended up moving off to Louisiana, worked overnights for an oil field company, paying his dues, moved up right away, So even though he was dealing with all of this trauma and this emotional damage, he never turned to drugs. He never turned to alcohol. He never self-medicated. We were very fortunate with that, that especially in his younger years. Now, did he party and stuff? Well, yeah, we all did, let's be honest. But it wasn't because trauma stuff. And so he moved out and was doing really great, made a lot of money doing that. And I was so proud of him. I remember over the summer, I would go spend weeks with him in Louisiana, and then when he finally moved back, I was 15, I think. And I was so excited to have him there because at that point, I was really trying to figure out who I was. And so to have him there was so great. I remember him and his buddy Wayne, they bought a boat. And man, I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So we'd go out deep sea fishing, and here I am, his little sister, and he'd take me out with all of his friends. And, we were just living the good life. And then when I was a senior in high school, we ended up selling the flower shop. And because my mom had told me, my adopted mom had told me, I want more for you out of this life. And I know if I keep the business, you'll stay here. You're not going to go anywhere. And she was right. I would have, and so she ended up selling the business, which everybody was perfectly fine with, it's fine. And so then the people who ended up buying the shop, though, they converted the building because it was a great location. They split it in half, essentially putting a wall up, and they opened up a Subway sandwich shop. So that was really cool. And I ended up working at said Subway sandwich shop, working my way up to management. And again, I was 17. 18-year-olds these days are not like 18-year-olds back then. I had a work ethic. I worked really hard. I loved my job. I was in high school. I was taking college classes, and I was working at Subway. So I had a lot of things going on, and my brother was around for all of that. And so that was really cool. We had some time to bond. We had a little bit of animosity towards each other, though, because we were always trying to one up each other, And I say that with a caveat, though, because I was never really trying to one up him. I was still young. I didn't even know who I was, who I wanted to be, all those things. And he always had to feel like he had to prove himself, You know, he had to be the best. He had to do the best. He had to look the best, you know, always be on his best behavior. He had a lot of internal pressure, you know, and we were also dealing with some stuff in our relationship because years ago, back when I was a kid, he had told me that if it wasn't for me, our parents would be alive. And I didn't understand it, you know, but that was kind of the narrative. And he had said, well, mom and dad had quit smoking because they were pregnant with you and they wanted to quit smoking. And if they were still alive, like they would have, if they would have never stopped smoking, if you would have never come, I would still have my parents, but instead I get you. And so that was really hard, you know, like I still loved him. But we had a lot of tension in our relationship, especially in my early 20s, because I didn't understand him. I didn't understand the mental health. I didn't understand why he couldn't just get over it. You know, at that point, it had been like 20 years. I'm like, dude, stop playing the victim card. You know what I mean? Like, grow the fuck up. Like, it's time. So, you know, we had a tumultuous relationship. There's no doubt about that. But all right, guys, well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I hate to make it this long. I tune in tomorrow for part 4. Okay. Thanks, guys.